How you doing?
I can't stop smiling.
Tim, how long you been embossing?
No, 2.5 years.
You came from a decoration business or no?
No background, just sales, 14 years. And had an opportunity to buy the machine and bought the machine. And
I know you for a while already as my embossing customer. You got to tell me how much marketing you did.
3 trade shows.
How long ago?
My first year I did 2 trade shows, spring and a fall. And then last year I did a fall.
How can you build the business on 3 trade shows? First of all, what city are you in? Where do you live?
Alberta, Canada.
So what's the population?
Probably just under 1 million.
And your customers are?
Northern Alberta, Saskatchewan, a little bit of BC.
You don't sell retail, right? Who's your customer?
Promotional agent.
So I gotta go back to this. You haven't done much marketing.
Very young. I don't even have a website yet.
You just have like a simple brochure. But what makes it work then? Right? That's so against every rule that I practice. You gotta market, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, and then you're the anomaly. But why?
I think it's the fact that we do really good work, and word's gotten out there that we have really good quality. You know, I work with a couple companies that are big popular clubs in White Ridge, and they throw our name out there, embossing and decoration a lot. And when you have a good relationship with a company like that, I get a phone call every day. Hey, we talked to Bonnie at White Ridge. She gave us your number. It's not that I don't want to do marketing and have a website. I've just been so busy and I haven't died yet, and I will.
Okay, so we had a talk once about pricing, and people say to you, hey, this is more expensive than embroidery. So how do you handle that?
Apples and oranges. When you can't sell the two together, you're always going to have people who want embroidery, and you've always going to be what people who want to try and emboss it. And you got to sell it as 2 separate decorations. And I know you like this story, but the people come to you no long. It's too expensive, or I can get it for $250 embroidered. And I said, well, that's a great deal. You should go get it done, because you know what? It's two separate decoration processes. We're handling each piece when we emboss or deboss. So we handle each piece. We don't fall onto an embroidery machine. So it's a totally different process. So that's why I think we can charge more and get away with more pricing or a higher price than embroidery.
What do you, what kind of output do you have? You started the business part-time, right? And you had a full-time career. But so when would you do embossing? Like how many pieces could you get done? When did you do it?
Oh, depends. You know, sometimes we had jack orders for 40, and we'd come in at 4 in the afternoon and work through till 7 at night. And
40 jacket, 43 hours?
Yeah. 3 hours. My dad and I just did 3,000 pair of gloves, 6,000 gloves. And we did those in 3.5 days. They were 8-hour days.
Can you give me an idea of what that's worth, a job like that? About right when you charge, that was one customer or many? 3,000 pair. But what would you charge for a hit for that?
Oh, yeah. But there's always going to be jobs that are easier money, not easy money, but easier money. And there's going to be jobs that are...
What's time consuming?
Left chest on a garment, right? It's going to be on there straight. It's got to look good. And when you're doing a leather jacket, you're not just throwing it on the machine and beating it. I make sure it's lined up right. You've marked it right with your chalk line and your square, and then you line it up to your lasers, and you got to make sure nothing's underneath.
What do you say it takes you for a leather jacket?
Oh, I think a leather jacket, once you get rolling on it, could probably do a leather jacket every 2 minutes and get $10 a hair.
What do you like most about this business? The reason I'm trying to provoke out of you told me once, you talked about overhead, and tell me how many people you have working for you. And
got a couple employees right now, being that we're just getting into the business.
You mean you're getting in full-time versus walking away from something else?
Yeah, so full-time we need to hire a person to obviously help us with the front end, the folds and quotes, things like that, and learn the embossing side of it, because I think everybody needs to learn how to emboss or deboss garments and the limitations of each garment and how to do it and how much time it takes. So when they're quoting these jobs, they'll know I get a better price or not.
No, what do you like most about the business?
Well, yeah, I think the fact that talk about there's no overhead, right? Yeah, we have an office, online internet, and we have a couple employees. Other than that, we don't inventory anything. Everything that comes in, and then everything we deboss it and emboss it and goes up. So outside of all the money I spend on marketing, I think that's what's unique about the business, is you don't have to inventory.
How much space do you need? Like if you, let's say when you just originally started, before you had your office, how much space do you really need to do this to get started?
First bought the machine, it was in the back of a bay, a garage bay. We were working in probably a 20 by 20 area, not even. And it was, to be comfortable, you need a little more space.
And that's just because of the physical goods that come in.
Yeah, goods that come in, and you need tables that are at chest level, so you're not bending over, and to make it ergonomically correct for your employees, that they have tables to work at and pack and deboss, and on the other side you can pack up your goods and put them back in the boxes, and then they go out the door.
Okay, so how much physical space does the machine need?
I think The machine is probably 4 feet by 3 feet, so it's very small.
And noisy? What about noise issues?
Based the hum.
Is it the hum of making money?
How I'm making, like, I actually have a DVD player on the top of my machine, and sometimes when you're doing gloves, throwing a movie and watching a movie or something along that lines to pass the time.
But you're doing, I mean, that's something you could hand off to somebody easily for a lot less money. You're worth a lot more, but you just do it because...
I do it just because I'm part-time, but, my dad comes in, works for me, and I'm usually managing the phones and things like that.
Is it fair to say that it's a full-time business? The revenue is full-time. It's not a part-time home hobby anymore, right? The income is full-time already. And you went from, you bought a machine, so you went from zero, from ground up, to a full-time business in how many years? Or
Well, I think, it's probably a year here.
what were you putting in time-wise at the beginning?
I only worked for the jobs I had, so maybe 4 or 5 hours a day. And it's it's like anything else. We get big orders where we have to spend more time here. It fluctuates and maybe gets a little slower, and we don't have to spend as much time here.
We're in the middle of a recession technically right now. And are you feeling it? What do you attribute that you're not feeling? Everybody else?
Decoration company, and we offer a very unique product, and I've built up my clientele, 80 dealers, and they're always coming back to me for quotes or look on certain things, and on decorating certain garments, and it's amazing what they bring to you. Can we do emboss this? Can we emboss that? And I think it's an alternative decoration to embroidery, and I think that's why it's...
A couple more questions. If I'm making this video for Mrs. Smith in United States, any town, any place, do you think that it's absolutely mandatory to be in a big city? Why not? Why can't it be in any town?
Anybody can ship boxes anywhere, right? I think it's mandatory that you get your name out there and show your product and show them what you can do, show them the detail of what embossing or debossing can offer, and it's an alternative to embroidery. It can be discreet, it can be as loud as you want, and that's the beauty of embossing and deboss, right? So anybody can do it.
Now, one other thing, I'm the owner of Permaboss. You know me for several years now. You didn't buy the machine from me. You bought it from you. I always say to people they can't find a used machine, but how did you find a used machine?
I just have the right place at the right time. Looking for something in a warehouse, and I asked what this machine was. A gentleman who sold it to me, the debossing or embossing machine, showed me how it works, and they said, "Do you want to buy it?" And I said, "Oh, maybe." So anyway, I went in one weekend and saw the potential profitability of the machine, and ended up purchasing.
So why would they want to sell it?
It was focus. Their focus was on the corporate side of their business and what they were doing. They repped a couple lines of other products. That was the focus of what they wanted to put into it. They didn't want to put the time and effort into emboss and deboss. They took any job that was easy to do. When I say when only a relevant machine is that you can deal with 1 piece to 1,000 pieces, but sometimes that 1 piece can be very profitable because you're very unique. What you're offering is a small business owner.
My point was that you didn't buy the machine from me. So how did you find support? You called a company that you didn't give them any profit. Did you need support? Did you get it from us? How was a relationship with Permaboss?
I think Permaboss was obviously the dyes were very important. Where am I going to get my dyes from? So I just started working with a few of the employees. That's funny. So you're the owner. I never really met you until 4 months down the road, and you phoned me and said, "Who's this guy wearing all his dyes?" Right? And so Permaboss worked with the front-end staff, Colleen, and the guys at the back. And they offer great service.
Did you need technical help? Did you have issues?
No, not really. No, sometimes I would phone and ask about the machine or something along that lines. But, I know when we moved it, we'd hook it up right. We phoned it. And just by ear, I think you set it straight in the hookup of it. But that was 6 months after because we stayed in our one location for 6 months.
We looked at your machine today. You have how many hits on it?
118,000. And I got it at 46,000. I think it was around 40 to 45,000, I think,
And how many service calls you had, and problems, and days that you were down?
And yet.
So anything else you can say, wishing these people good luck, or what's the last thing? What's the biggest fear that somebody might have, and how would they deal with it?
Biggest fear? It's when I'm not a big risk taker. When I had fears going into this. And I paid that machine off, and I paid that machine off in 6 months, right? So, you know, our biggest fear is whether I'm going to wreck a garment or something.
What happens if you do that?
Let's replace it. But it's learning. You're learning. You'll probably never do it again, but you gotta learn the limitations of lambskin, cowhide leather, fleece, and cotton, and all the new golf materials. So you gotta learn the limitations of those materials, and yeah, you're probably going to wreck one or two.
So list the different products and materials you decorate besides leather, because people don't associate with leather in southern United States as much as in northern and in Canada. So what are the other, you're using all high-tech?
Yeah, well, we do a lot of the golf, like the wicking away golf shirts now, polylycra golf shirts, to a ton of those. Soft shell jackets are huge.
What are the locations you do it on?
A lot of locations are left chest. We'll do it on the cup and on the yoke. I just did a jacket where the spot to hit it was down on the shoulder, on the rim. I made it on the shoulder this week still. Yeah, and like I said, cotton's huge. I think cotton looks fantastic. Embossed fleece. Another product we do, gloves. We do tons of gloves. Leather gloves, work gloves. It's a big part of our business. Other gloves, whether it's deerskin or cowhide or black leopard gloves. We do a lot of work gloves, just really have the band, the leather band across the back, and they look really good.
Okay, to be fair to you, for all the people who don't want to buy an embossing machine and they want to get a contractor done to make you world famous here, where are they going to go? Who are you going to call besides Ghostbusters? No, then you got to call New Line for contract.
Or New Line for
You refuse to market. What if I put you on YouTube? You get 600,000 hits. You tell them to phone me?
Yeah, call Rob. You need to call me, you know, if you want to talk about maybe, you know, your business plan or where you want to go with this and how to co-market it with your embroidery machine. You know, I don't embroider, but I know lots of embroiderers.
Are the embroiderers a part of your customer group too?
Yeah, well, quite often I'll get ratio. I just had an embroidery in here. I did 1,000 pieces of emboss and deboss. I did hats, sculptures, soft shell jackets. Then he has a 16-hand embroidery machine. It's another service he offers, who's embossing and debossing, and he brought it to me.
And he marked up your price, obviously. I want to say a big thanks for taking the time in your office, to tell me everything about what you saw. By the way, you saw the features on the new machine compared to what you have. Yeah, you think they're a benefit to people? To speed you up a little bit?
When I make the Fortune 500, I'm quite to buy. And then in Permaboss machine, for sure. Absolutely.
But when you're running how about when you need to run a fourth shift? Don't wait till the Fortune 500.